What is up, Chicago entrepreneurs? Welcome to another episode of the Togar Experience. Today we have a very, very special guest, a good friend of mine, a good mentor, one of the most successful entrepreneurs that I know, one of the biggest names in Chicago. With you today, we have the one and only Andrew Holmes.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you having us here.
Yeah, thank you, Andrew, for coming to the podcast. Definitely. It's an honor to have you here. Purpose why I wanted to invite you is because honestly, you're one of the biggest names when you think of real estate. Andrew Holmes, investing, everything. I mean, you're doing great. You've done phenomenal in the Chicagoland area. Founder of Chicago REIA, Cash Flow Conference. It's amazing. So, kind of tell us a little bit about what you do.
So basically, I mean, like anybody else, the idea started with me needing help, and then that expanded to be able to actually be able to give back, right? I mean, like you, like a lot of people, at 14, 15 years old, all I cared about was I want to be rich, right? Didn't know what the definition, what it really meant, right? And at that time, I grew up in India. So, and now things are different. But at the time, I'd tell my parents, hey, how come we don't have the more cars than some of my friends, right? And they're like typical immigrants. What is wrong with you, right? How come you're not grateful? God has blessed us. And mind you, we were much better off than 99.9%, right? Both my parents were surgeons, but I knew more was possible. Didn't know how, but that was kind of the place where everybody was like, study, go to school, and then work hard. I'm like, no, but where's the get rich part? Right? I mean, which is that everybody's talking, kind of beating around the bush. But why are you going to study? Why are you going to go to a good school? Why are you going to get a job? Because you want to make a lot of money. I mean, I don't know anybody that quote unquote studies and says, hey man, I have a job offer for 400 versus 200. No, I'm going to refuse the 400 one, right? So we're doing that because we want to be well off in our careers, however you want to call it. I just didn't have the sophistication. I was just like, I want to be rich, right? I mean, that was kind of where that dream started, and I was fortunate enough to come back to U.S. At the age of 17 years old, 11th grade of high school, and that kind of changed my world vision because here I had the permission to be like, oh my God. I went to a library one time for a school project and just kind of browsing around. There's a whole section which did not exist in India at the time at all, which was business, books, financial, personal growth. I'd never heard of such a word, personal growth. And the first book I picked up were two books. One was Think and Grow Rich, and the other one was Entrepreneurs Are Made, Not Born. Right? And those two books, as much as I'd like to say, oh my God, changed my life, it gave me permission that the way I was thinking was not wrong. Right? It was like you can actually become what you think about. Right? Meaning you can be successful, you can be whatever, and there's nothing wrong with it. Because until then, my parents were like, oh, no. I had that disease. It's called the big mouth, small brain syndrome. Where you speak before you think. And I mean, especially for guys, right? We do that whenever you're young, you just run your mouth off, without a clue how you're going to pull that off. But I truly think it's like somebody who's a kid and goes, I'm going to be a great ballerina. I'm going to be a great baseball player. I'm going to be a great football player, right? I mean, dude, you're in your diapers, right? Kind of thing, right? You don't even know how to spell the game. But yet, what are they doing? They're dreaming a dream. And as long as it's positive, right, in a good direction. And my dream was that, hey, man, I didn't know how, but I wanted to be successful. So that's kind of the hope with which I kind of got to America, like I think most immigrants, similar sort of things.
So you came from India at 17, 18. You're about like junior in high school?
11th grade.
So like, did you move to like the Chicagoland area suburbs?
No, I moved to a very small town in the middle of West Virginia, about 3,000 people.
Oh, West Virginia.
So I was like the only Indian kid in the whole school. So it was a change to see the least.
So at like what age or what made you come over to like Illinois?
So I lived from the small town. I go to a college town. From there, I wanted to move to a bigger town. So I moved to Pittsburgh. From Pittsburgh, I wanted to go bigger because I didn't have the guts to go move to Chicago. I was too scared.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Yeah. It's a big city. It's intimidating.
It's intimidating,
Yeah.
right? Because I don't know.
Yeah.
Right. And obviously I didn't have the money either. So I moved to Pittsburgh. From Pittsburgh, I moved to Atlanta because that was like, okay, well, and then from there, kind of I moved here.
Yeah,
right.
okay.
Because I was trying to make my way up to quote unquote the big town.
The big
right?
city. Okay.
So, that's what it is.
So, like, how old were you when you came to Chicago? Like, did you live by yourself? Like, what were you at that point, like, working in to kind of start getting some money?
Man, so what happened was at 19, I was in college. I had a small amount of scholarship, nothing very big, but it covered kind of books and things like that, right? And instead of taking that money, I got the check. And in the small town, in the small college, there was one lady. I'll never forget this. They has this pearl white Jaguar XJR Van Dam Plus. I'll never forget that because at the time, right, I'm like, man,
That's a nice
right?
car.
You're an agent. You drive a nice car, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is all, right? And I'm like, if I can have a nice car,
Dress
then,
nice watch.
yeah, then I'll get all the women. I mean, that's all you're thinking.
Yeah, especially
right?
as a guy, you
Yeah,
know, like, I
exactly.
want to get the girls.
Right? And and it's one of those things, right? I still had a thick accent and all this kind of stuff. So you're trying to fit in. You're trying to be cool, but you just don't want to let anybody else know it,
Yeah.
right? It's kind of one of those things. And so, and my plan was, like a lot of people get into real estate, in summer I'm going to sell a lot of houses, and then all year round I'm going to be the man,
Yeah.
right? Not realizing that's not how it works
that's
out,
not how
right?
it
That's
is.
not how it works. So, I mean, as you would have it at 19, 20, 21, 22, in the small town, I'm making cold calls,
Yeah.
right? And I used to literally cold call people, FSBOs, expireds, cancels,
Yeah.
right? And there were 110 realtors in town. That's it,
Yeah.
in the whole town,
Yeah.
right? And they used to hate my guts.
Really?
Because that's like, it's not done. What do you mean you're going to cold call people?
Yeah.
Right? It's like so out of their box because it's very traditional. Everybody knows everybody. And here I am, like I'd go to any of the football games. I'm giving out people business cards. I'm like, hey, I'm an agent. and people are just like, oh, he's not sophisticated. He doesn't right? And I was not. I mean, I was desperate.
Yeah.
Right? And I mean, I did all kinds of silly things, man. I remember, I never will forget. One time I got this great idea. I bought those small pumpkins.
Okay.
Right, I'm at the back of a truck of this agent. She was a really kind lady to me, and she used to laugh at all the crazy ideas I would come up with at the office. And so I went to the pumpkin farm. I had no weight, mind you. I had a little beat up Mustang.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking maybe I could put all those little pumpkins in my trunk.
Yeah.
I put a few of the pumpkins. Car goes kind of sideways, right?
Yeah.
And so she and her husband come, put all those little pumpkins. And I put a little tag on them, Andrew Holmes, whatever, realtor thing. And my brilliant idea, I'm going to go put it in everybody's mailbox for Thanksgiving, like as a,
As a gift,
Yeah,
yeah.
as a thing, right? And people are going to think it's cute. And next time they think about buying a house, me. And now, mind you, in West Virginia, the whole town is up or down.
Yeah.
So every time she starts driving up, guess what would happen to all the pumpkins?
Yeah.
Right, they would go past me rolling down the hill.
Yeah, right.
And I mean, and she's dying laughing while at the same time she feels bad for me.
Yeah.
And I mean, all I have is a $300 budget, right?
Yeah.
It's not like,
Yeah.
right? And it's funny because the crazy thing sometimes you try out of desperation. Next day, I get a call from U.S. Postal Office, their inspector, right? I was at REMAX at the time because they said we're number one at the time,
Yeah.
right? And so I'm like, oh, okay, I want to be number one, not realizing that it's all these fees, right? Of course. And so, and now I'm like, what did I do?
Yeah.
He's like, this is postal inspector. The guy sounds really serious, right? He's like, are you Andrew Holmes? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, you cannot be breaking into people's mailboxes. I'm like, I didn't break into any mailboxes, right? Now, mind you, I don't know, right?
Yeah, right.
I didn't know that putting something, that's federal property.
It is, yeah.
Right? I had no clue, man.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, okay, am I going to get arrested? Blah, blah. I'm like, listen, I'm really sorry. I didn't know. I'm like 19 years old, just got in real estate. I was trying to do marketing,
Yeah.
and I really apologize. And he calmed down. He realized that
He calmed down,
I'm
yeah.
like,
You didn't know
hey,
no
man.
better
Yeah,
than
I mean,
that.
I'm like, I wasn't trying to do anything. He's like, yeah, you can't do that, blah, blah, blah. But you know what's funny is this. Month and a half later, he calls me.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I want to sell my house. I sold his damn house.
Yeah.
Right? Which at that time, it was a $250,000 house.
That's a good
Man,
purchase price.
at that time, dude, that was I had never seen, I don't know what it was, 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 on commission, whatever the heck it was, I don't even know. I had never seen that much money in my bank account all at one time.
Really?
Right? And so, and I did so many crazy things, but yet that was kind of the start. So it took me until 22, 23 to really get my act together. And I think one person that I would give credit for is Mike Ferry.
Yeah, Mike Ferry. Mike Ferry is a huge pillar, and when it comes to cold calling, prospecting in the real estate world. I mean, I used to be part of Mike Ferry coaching, and so same thing. You said, you know, you had mentioned that you were desperate, and I feel like when you need to make money, you figure it out. Like, you lose the shame of picking up the phone, calling strangers to try to you know, advertise yourself and get business, right? Because I feel like now a lot of days, especially like in our business, I feel like agents are just afraid to pick up the phone and get
But you know something, I don't think they're desperate enough.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? I mean, I was not going to go home because all this time, mind you, I've quit school, right? For an Indian kid with two parents that are surgeons.
Yeah.
Right? This is like shame.
Yeah,
you might as well have
100%.
shot somebody, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is like shame to the family, shame to the community, right? I mean, it's a we come from a very judgmental type of a thing, and obviously my parents are worried. I mean, they were more than anything, they were worried about me, that this kid has lost his mind, right? And so I wouldn't pick up the phone, I wouldn't talk to them because I'm ashamed. I'm like, I'm going to prove something. And it took a few years, man. I mean, I'd like to say that, oh my God, everything happened. It doesn't. You know, it takes time. And it took time to kind of get in a place where really I could definitely say that, okay, yeah, I at least beyond the normal expectations, I made it. Right?
Yeah.
But it was a process. But one thing I will never forget, and sometimes, you know, things happen, which I genuinely believe that life makes a way for you. Where I go to Pittsburgh, I drive up from Morgantown, West Virginia, in this little beat up Mustang, and the ticket for like a 3-day type of a thing, right?
Yeah.
It was an event Mike was doing at this big Marriott, and my plan was I had a bunch of suits like you, right? And I had 2 pairs of suits, and I'm like, I'm going to change them, and I had 3 or 4 white shirts. That's it. Didn't have money to stay
Different
at the hotel,
color tie.
right? Exactly, right? And didn't have money to stay at the hotel, so I parked way kind of in the corner. Right, so that nobody finds out that I'm sleeping in my car. I go in the gym in the morning, take a shower, right? But you know, I get there, and at the entrance, I was able to pay the $99 before, but I owed another couple $100. I don't know exactly what it was. My credit cards wouldn't go through.
Really?
Right? And you know, and we've all had those moments where you feel lower than dirt. And I mean, I want to cry. Like, you know, I'm something years old, and I want to cry, right? Because I'm so ashamed of myself. And I'll never remember. Mike had this lady, Kathy. She used to work for him, and she's standing there, whoever is taking the payments. And you know, sometimes people see the desperation in your eyes. They just don't call you out on it.
Yeah.
And she saw that, and she's like, "Oh, don't worry. It's maybe the credit card company. Sometimes they have a." At that time, they didn't have fraud blocks and all this nonsense. But she's like, you know, sometimes if they don't go through, it's no big deal, right? And she literally gave me the front row.
Really?
Right, seat. Right? She didn't have to do that. I mean, you know, I would have gone home with my tail between my legs, right? I mean, what am I going to say? But just that little act of kindness, right? I literally wanted to cry, man. I mean, whenever I still think about it, it makes me emotional because, and it wasn't a big deal, but it was the world big deal for me. And so it was one of those things where I was like, man, I'm not going to let this lady down, right? Because she was so kind to me. And it kind of some of those small things. And these things happen to everybody.
Yeah.
You just have to put yourself out there. And we have all been through that. We think we're alone. We're not. Right? Everybody has a story. That was kind of my start in real estate. So.
Yeah. No, that's honestly amazing to hear that, you know, and it goes to show that when you truly want something, you do whatever it takes to accomplish it, right? Yeah. So who would have thought that, like, at that age, you know, that it seems like it's a very pivotal moment for you, right? And to now create the massive empire that you have, it's just life changing. It's why you know, giving back and everything is so essential to you know, giving back to the community or to people that are right, you know, rising stars or wanting to get somewhere, because you never know if that small act of kindness will just, completely, make a change in their life.
100%.
Make a huge impact.
100%.
So, so after, so you're kind of like in your mid-20s now. So how do you kind of start getting into the investing world?
So I moved to Atlanta. I owned another gas station. Somebody drives into it, didn't have it properly, didn't have a S corp.
Okay, so you had a gas station, right, in Atlanta. So did you own that like by yourself? Or?
No, I had a partner.
Okay,
I had a partner, a very successful guy, and I met at a restaurant, Indian guy,
really?
and we just got to talking. And he owned gas stations. I'm selling real estate, mind you. That's all I know how to do, and it's not like I was making that much income. Mm-hmm. So even when I moved to Atlanta, in the morning I was selling real estate. In the afternoon, I used to go work at a call center, and at night in Buckhead I was a bartender. Right, these were my 3 jobs. Eventually I quit one, then I quit the next, and then I had enough listings where I was good, right? I mean, it's like kind of, a stepstone. And at the time, I think today when I look back at it, like the best thing you could do for a child, for anybody, is help them build good self-esteem.
Yeah.
Right? I had very low self-esteem. It's not like I was doing anything wrong, but for some reason, I always felt that I was less than. Right? That was my biggest hang-up. Yeah. And I say that because that stopped my growth.
Yeah.
Right? You're earning an honest day's living. But yet, for a lot of, I was in a big, beautiful, fancy office, and everybody drove nice, big, fancy cars, and I didn't. Right? And I felt very lowly about myself at the time, right? Today I can admit it because you realize this is a human experience, right? And everybody starts out somewhere in life. So for anybody listening, if you're there, guys, this is a time and place. You just can't stay there. That's all it is, right? And it's interesting because I meet this guy and he's like, well, if you can find a piece of property, I could build a gas station. And I'm thinking he's doing me a huge favor, not realizing at the time the way it worked was that gas stations at the time would sell obviously lottery tickets and cigarettes.
Yeah.
And this is before the Phillips Marlboro whole lawsuit and everything. They would pretty much, if you signed a contract for 15 years of buying fuel from, we had Phillips Conoco contract, they would pretty much pay for your canopy and everything.
Really?
Right? Yeah. I didn't know that at the time. This is at that point. Today it's different. And they would, all you have to do is put up the middle kind of the building, the store, and they would, so before you opened the doors, you broke even. You more than broke even.
Really?
Yeah, with just hanging the signs and all this stuff. It was a very different era back then.
Yeah.
Right? Which I didn't know.
Yeah.
But regardless, I find this was my first real estate deal. I found this piece of land in Hapeville in Atlanta, which is south part of Atlanta, where it's a kind of a nice 6-acre piece.
Yeah.
Right off the egress, which is the off-ramp and on-ramp to the main highway going through. So if you go to Florida, you go right through there, right? And that was, I had read a book about a land contract. I had no idea what a land contract was. Basically buying the property with seller financing, right? And that's how I bought that piece of ground because it was unused. It was a bunch of used cars were parked on it. And the owner was just sick and tired of it. And we built a huge gas station on it. And the cool part was across on the other side, there used to be a Ford plant, and all the trucks would stop there.
Really?
Because with the truck driver, as long as he got 100 gallons, I would give them free donuts and free coffee. Because they will always spend money in the store. Yeah. The donuts cost me less than 5 cents. Yeah. The coffee cost next to nothing. The cup was more expensive than the coffee, right? And so, and at about 22, I was making close to about net $23,000 a month.
Holy shit! 22 years old.
At 22 years old.
And this is what, back early 2000s?
This is before 9/11.
Wow.
This is before 9/11, right?
So what does a young kid do with that much money at that age?
At least one thing I never did, I was pretty focused, right? I wasn't much into drinking. I didn't do anything crazy. I bought a house, paid it down quite a bit. I bought 3 cars, all 3 Jaguars, right? Nice. Because this was at the time, I'm like, man, I'm rich, right? And it's interesting, though, when I bought the gas station in a partnership, 50-50 partnership, he signed for the bank loan and all that stuff. That I had literally mortgaged put every single credit card run up to come up with my side of the down payment, which was not very much, but I still had to come up with some money. And I said, you know something? It was 77 some dollars at that time in Georgia to incorporate an S corp. And I'm like, for right now, I'm just going to put it in my name.
Oh.
That $77
Yeah.
cost me everything.
Shit. Think about it. Just one little tiny thing. So then what happened?
So one day I get a call, 3:00 in the morning, from a cop, and Sergeant Ebb, I don't know if he's still alive, but he was a very kind man, and he was sergeant on the APD, Atlanta PD. And he calls, and he's like a barrel-chested black guy, right? He was always very nice to us, and he calls, and his voice is breaking, right? He's like, I'm like a grown-ass man, right? And he literally wants to cry. On the phone, I could tell, and all I could hear in the background were these sirens. And he's like, man, you need to get down here, like, now. And this is 3:00 in the morning. Now, mind you, for normal human beings, you're not used to getting a call from a cop at 3:00 in the damn morning, right? I mean, this is like, clearly it gets your attention real quick.
I know.
Right? And I still remember I used to live in Alpharetta, which is north part of Atlanta, that drive all the way down into the city, past the city, in the morning. I've never had a more dreadful moment in my life, because I'm trying to get off the exit ramp, and it's closed. And all I can see is just billowing smoke coming out, right? And so that whatever half a mile thing to get through the barriers to get in, and the whole place was on fire. So somebody had come in, bought a bunch of alcohol, and went home, shot up Coke or whatever he did, and then came back for a second run to buy more alcohol, and he passes out on the wheel, and he barges into the whole thing and takes out one of the bays. So now if you go to a gas station, any of the bays, if you drive off with kind of the with the fuel pump thing, it'll snap off.
Yeah.
Nothing happens, no fuel spill, nothing.
Yeah.
Right? If you barge into one of the bays, it has a snap off. So there'll be no fire, nothing. Right? That whole incident caused the industry to change because of that lawsuit.
Really?
Yeah. And that was a civil lawsuit.
Yeah.
And the deal was that our bank loan got paid, obviously, because the insurance is going to cover that. My other partner, he just took out whatever money was left. And he's like, well, there's no more money in the business, so what are you going to sue? Guess who's left? Me.
Yeah.
Because I'm the only one that has my personal name on it. So now they just start bleeding me in the court. And so somebody is like, hey, declare just BK. I'm like, well, you can't declare BK. Number one, my parents are going to find out about it. They don't know what BK is. They just know our kid went bankrupt, right?
Yeah.
With all this big talk and my big mouth. Yeah. And I didn't know, man. I was like, today it's different because you have availability of so much information.
100%.
Right? I could have dealt with it so much differently today. At the time, I mean, basically I'm like, hey, I'm just scared and I want it gone, the issue gone. So I just settle for whatever my assets were. The court comes in, the cops show up in the morning, and they're like, Mr. Holmes, pick one car, right? One pair of clothes, and thank you very much. And you walk out of the house. And that's really that. Because you settled with all your assets, right? I mean, they can't do anything if you have nothing.
Oh, shit.
So they just liquidate whatever the liquidated damage is, settled. That's it. And this is just before 9/11. I'll never forget, because 9/11 had just happened. So everybody was like in a panic that day, mode, yeah. Right? That day, like that morning, and I'm walking out of the court, yeah. Right? And it's kind of interesting that morning I didn't give a damn about 9/11, right? It's sad to say that today, but all I gave a damn that I just lost everything, right? Yeah. And I'm hoping that maybe I should have been in one of the buildings in New York, right? Because you think your life is over.
Yeah.
Right? Not real. Now looking back, it's like, dude, I was 22.
Yeah.
Right? And a world event happened that day. And at least in that moment, I could give a damn.
Yeah.
Right? But that was kind of my reason to move to Chicago.
Yeah.
Because I was done with Atlanta. So,
So for everyone watching this, just think about it. You go a different route from what your family wants you to do, right? You're kind of like the black sheep in the family.
Absolutely.
Right? So, you're starting to see some success at a very young age where you're making good money, and, you venture into a new business with a partner, and just in a blink of an eye, you just lose everything, right? those are like that's like a Rocky Balboa story, you know, because so then you move to Chicago. So then what's next? You know, back to real estate sales, or kind of
back to real estate sales,
back
right?
to hitting the phones, right?
I mean, dude, I didn't know anything else, man. I had no other. I mean, I used to work. I was a server at, there used to be a steakhouse in Itasca, and at the, now it's Westin. At the time it was something else, whatever, a big hotel, and I was the server there at night because that's how I could at least make a couple months worth of rent, and in the day I was selling real estate. And my biggest fear was, or my biggest paranoia was, and I had a bunch of townhouses listed across the street. I'd cold call the builder, and he was selling new construction. And my biggest paranoia was one of my clients that bought those properties is going to show up to eat steak. Now, even if they had, now today I understand that, hey man, I'm doing an honest job, right? I had tried to do the best I could with real estate. So it's not like, but yet, for some reason, I always remember I used to look around the corner, who was in the dining room, right? Because I felt for some reason poorly about myself, you know. But again, it's one of those things that in the evening I could do that. During the day I could sell real estate, and I used to make cold calls. At the time I was at Coldwell Banker. All the people in the office used to think I was nuts. Right. I was absolutely nuts because they're like, oh, it doesn't work, blah, 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 blah. You know, this is not the way to do it. And I mean, I tried everything, every single open house, every weekend. When I didn't have listings, I would take other people's.
Doing open houses just in case.
No, but I mean, I had no choice. Right. And I would sit enough open houses where I would find leads, where I would find buyers, whatever, right? And I didn't care what it took. And my goal was, in 90 days, I'm going to quit this server thing. It took me 120, but...
Well, so the biggest lesson here important is like, okay, you lose everything and you go back to the most important thing that you know what to do, which is what? Sales.
That's all I knew.
So to every entrepreneur, knowing that if you don't know how to sell, if you don't know how to, you know, get business cold, especially where you move to a new city, you basically got dropped there, right? And you don't have a sphere of influence. The importance of just, you know, knowing sales and just picking up the phone and dialing is so important, because eventually you got back up to your feet within a couple. Well, that's not bad at all. I mean, 120 days. I mean, that's 4
man.
months.
It was like clearly. I mean, that whole thing. I mean, I had a simple system. It's like, if I call you and you're in the middle of dinner, right? I'm gonna be like, I'm so sorry. I apologize. I'll hang up. Next day, I'm gonna call you again and apologize for calling you at a bad time. Right. And I had the script down cold. Like, hey, Tony, this is Andrew. I just want to apologize. And who's this again? Clearly, they didn't remember you calling them the day before. No, you know, yesterday I called you at an inappropriate time. I just wanted to apologize, right? Because I called you and I think you were busy. Like, who's this again? Oh, this is Andrew from Coldwell Banker. I was wondering if you want to get your home sold. Would you be offended if I brought a buyer through, right? And they're like, well, do you have a buyer? Oof. You know, if I told you I did, I would be lying. I don't want to do that. Would you be offended if I stopped by on Saturday? Is 3 better or 5? Right? Which is a script.
That's my scripts.
You know, no, I mean, it was just, man, and I would, you know, and sometimes, a lot of times they'll be like, well, no, I'm not working with agents right now. I was selling the house myself. I'm like, okay, right, no problem. Well, I just wanted to make sure you're not mad, right? And they wouldn't know what to say, right? Then I'd hang up, right? Call them back on Monday. I'm like, hey, this is Andrew. I called you once, right? You're in the middle of something. Second time, I apologize. I'm calling you a third time just to make sure everything going well with your open house this weekend. If they had to go to open house, I'm like, great, did you get it sold? If they had a bad open house, ooh, I wonder what the problem is. They're like, what do you mean there's a problem? I'm like, well, the property's not sold, right? And I mean, I would just call them, and I was just nice about it, right? But I would not, if I go out of town, I'd call them from out of town. Right, hey, I'm in Ohio. I'm calling you from Ohio because I was thinking about you. And they're just like, this guy's just weird, right? But one thing, and at a point, they're like, no, you know, my aunt is in the business, right? And the whole thing, right? I'm like, listen, let me ask you a question. You know, since the first time I called you, I've called you 23 times. And 9 times you picked up because I would, on the lead sheet, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Just written down there. Did your aunt call you twice about your listing? Well, not really. I'm like, listen, if I'm more willing to work this hard before I get your business, how hard do you think I'm going to work once I earn your business? They had no answer to that. It was over, right? And that was the one thing that I was good at.
Yeah.
Was that, man, I was going to follow up with you if you're in your damn grave.
Yeah, I know,
right?
man.
I mean, and I was that, and it became a game.
Yeah.
It literally became a game. I would show up at their house. I would never even do a walkthrough, right? They knew me so well. They're like, man, you're kind of weird. I'm like, well, I know I'm kind of weird, but I'm good. Do you want somebody good, or do you want somebody who's going to stick the house in the MLS? Yeah. No, we want somebody good. I mean, now, mind you, it's a NLP question, right? Yeah. It's like, what are you going to say? No, I want an idiot, right?
Yeah, right.
You can't say that, right?
Yeah.
And so it became kind of like a game. How many houses can I break into today, right? And my goal was every day have 2 to 3 appointments set up. For every 4th appointment, I would get a listing, right?
So it's a numbers game.
It's a numbers game. It's a number, and I knew that the numbers like the back of my hand, right? That at a time I would carry 40 to 50 listings.
Wow, that's good.
And it was over.
Did you have a team or anything?
No, it was me and a half an assistant part-time. I didn't need anybody because I didn't show houses.
Yeah.
I did not show houses. Somebody called me for a buyer, but I'm like, well, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
So I would not show. I mean, I followed what Mike said, and I followed it like to the T because, man, I didn't have an option.
Yeah.
Right. It was do or die sort of thing, and it's kind of funny because I did not want to go back to being broke.
Yeah.
Right. And an incident happened actually maybe 3-4 years ago, which is very interesting how sometimes life works. So at the time when I was working at the Shula Steakhouse, I used to work with a Hispanic guy, nice man, and him and his wife used to work there. And he was trying to buy a little townhouse at the time in Itasca. And I was the agent, mind you, right? And $100-some thousand, barely $100,000, 2-bedroom, 1-bath. And I thought it was a great deal. And the day of the closing, he cancels the deal. He gets cold feet. Right? And mind you, that $2,000 or $3,000, whatever I was going to make, that was going to be my little savings with a little bit other money so that I could see through the next month where I'm like, okay, I'm not going to need to work here anymore.
Yeah.
Right? And he cancels. And, it's like, again, back to that moment where you want to cry.
Yeah.
But you don't. But you're like, oh, no, it's okay, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, my God, man.
Yeah.
Now I got my 90-day plan move up to 120 days because I don't have that commission that I need in my savings. And it's funny because obviously I quit about 4 years ago, I believe. I call Chicago Executive Airport to pull the airplane out. I'm like, hey, don't top off the fuel. Top off meaning don't put fuel. I was going somewhere like 2-3 hours away. It had enough fuel. I'm like, why am I going to buy such expensive fuel here? I'll just get it over there, right? I get there, they topped it off, right? And I'm all pissed, right? I mean, it's a small thing, but I'm all, for $1 more a gallon or $2 more a gallon, it's not a big deal. So I start calling the executive tower, and I'm having a fit, right? And they apologize. After they start apologizing, now I feel bad. I'm like, don't worry about it, man. It's okay, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. I don't think twice about it. I come back later in the evening. In the evening, this guy is coming running at me. And he's like, Mr. Holmes. I'm like, hey, man, what's up? He's like, dude, I'm so sorry. I apologize. It's an older man, right? Now I'm feeling bad. I'm like, dude, don't worry about it, man. It happens. You guys are great most of the times. I was just a little irritated this morning. My bad. It's no big deal, right? I'm like, don't even. He's like, can I say something? I'm like, yeah, sure. He's like, you didn't recognize me. I'm like, no. He's like, remember Shula's Steakhouse? So this was that buyer I used to work with.
That's crazy.
He was the other server. He's like, man, Andrew, you really made it.
Yeah.
Right? So I get out, and I'm like, I think his name was Jose, right? I mean, I'm trying to think to myself, now I'm embarrassed.
It's either Jose or Juan.
No, I mean, it's like, I don't even, that was so distant memory for me, right? And he's like, dude, I saw the billboards on the highway. I keep seeing all this stuff, all the ads you guys do for Chicago REIA. And I'm like, I had no idea that he had kind of clearly followed through social media over all these years. And he had just gotten that job. Oh, and he had gotten transferred to the executive side. And because I had gone off in the morning, so here's this rich guy, quote unquote, who filed a complaint against him. And now he's going to lose this great union paying job. right? And I'm like, dude, I'll call your boss, man.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I have this bond with this guy, you know, and it's kind of funny. He's like, man, you've come a long way. I remember you used to say, one day you're not going to have to work at the restaurant. We all used to laugh at you, right? That this only happens in a dream. You really made it. I'm like, I don't know about I made it or not, but you know, I'm definitely better off than where I was. You know, but it's like life is kind of interesting how, you know, things progress. Now, at least a lot of times I take it for granted, the life I have, but certainly it's for anybody, man, who you may see as success. There's a lot of heartache behind it, you know, and it's like we all started the exact same way, you know, so.
Yeah, and that's why, like, you know, I you know, personally wanted to invite you to the podcast, right? Because everyone sees you as, you know, very successful, and congratulations. Like, honestly, I'm a huge fan.
No, I appreciate that.
And, you know, but it's like, hey, like I know Andrew didn't have it easy. Let's talk about it so people see the reality. Like, hey, he's way up here, but hey, it wasn't always like that.
No, man. I mean, for most people, unless your parents just gave it to you, where are you gonna have money from? Right. I mean, like, let's just be honest, right? And I was not the brightest bulb on the Christmas tree, right? I came on once in a while. I'm not gonna say, oh my God, I was stupid or anything, but school wasn't my thing. Right. I was always trying to think, oh man, how can I become successful? Blah blah. And I think a lot of people, right, are kind of in that quandary that, hey, I want to achieve something, I want to be successful. And it's really a lot of times, man, success is not, we would like to think I do A, then B happens, B, then C happens. Life doesn't work that way. Life just does not work that way. But I've always believed that, you know, if you have a long-term thinking and if you are consistent, especially when you're young, right, you can set yourself up. And today there's more information about becoming successful, taking it to the next level than there has ever been.
Yeah, 100%. Because, like, you know, back then, like during your time, it was just books, right?
No, it was
now
just
there's audio books, there's
there's a million places.
TikTok. Like, I mean, even right now, I mean, I'm still young, right? I consider myself a young 28. I feel like if I would have had access even to the information I have now, I probably wouldn't have gone to college. Right? I wish I would be like in the spot that I'm at maybe 5 years ago.
Sure,
we all do. Still young,
we all do.
Right? But you know, it's just the importance of like how much information there is out there and how many people can really break into entrepreneurship.
100%.
So, like, what advice would you give to like younger generation right now in this day, right, that are wanting to get into either real estate or just like entrepreneurship in general? Because keep in mind, like when you get into real estate, whether as a realtor or as an investor, you're an entrepreneur. Right? What advice would you give to someone young that wants to break into entrepreneurship, inclined towards real estate?
Man, it doesn't really matter what kind of quote-unquote entrepreneurship you want to do, right? Number one, first, get a job. Meaning you don't have to have a quote-unquote job. Like, just say if you're driving Uber, right? Drive it like a job. Because what that'll do is it'll give you stability, right? And the other thing is that I don't care if you don't like it. Right? If you don't like it, it's even better. Because if you like it, you're going to get comfortable there, doing whatever you do. You're an engineer, it doesn't matter. If you don't like it, then you hate it so much that you want to get out of it. But use that as a stepping stone. The biggest mistake 99.9% of entrepreneurs make is that they start pursuing, quote unquote, their dream, and they have no way to make a living. They have no way. They're frustrated. They're mad. They get depression, right? If they have a family, they're going to get a divorce. This is the highest rate of failure is with entrepreneurs, not because they're supposed to, but what they do is in trying to pursue their dream, they don't create any stability. That small job or whatever, small, big job, whatever it is, use that, leverage that as a stepping stone,
100%.
right? And that is the most important thing. A lot of times we hear stories, obviously, of quote-unquote heroes, of people who have made it, and, I quit my job, and blah, 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 blah. And for every one person that succeeded, there's 10 or 20,000 that failed. And they didn't fail because their idea was no good. They didn't fail because they didn't want it bad enough, or they didn't work hard enough. They failed because they just could not get through the period where life was testing them. And when it starts testing, finally, they just give up on the dream, and then they go back to, quote-unquote, they have to go get a job. Instead, do it the opposite way. Use something that is a job that is, hell, go drive Uber, doesn't matter,
Yeah.
right? But if you treat it like a 9 to 5 quote unquote job, you can make decent money. Nobody's saying you're going to get rich from it, but then you use that income to pay your bills, save some extra,
Save
and
money.
now take that and start building something on the side.
Yeah.
Right? Before, it's like the old adage, which is before you, so you have a 9 to 5, right? That pays the bills. Your 5 to 9 is what will build a
Building
lifestyle.
plan. Yeah.
Right? But before you build that, you've got to pay a price. So if you bring it back to real estate, the way we say it is that if you take care of real estate for the first 5 years, real estate will take care of you for the rest of your life. Meaning if you're doing rentals, if you're doing anything, you've got to lay a foundation, which is correct. If you're a real estate agent, man, real estate agent is the single best lottery ticket that I know,
100%.
where you can be a multi-freaking millionaire.
And this is coming from someone that started off as a real estate agent, right? Like, this advice is very important to every realtor if you're looking at this right now. How you need to broaden your horizon and think outside the box, that you have firsthand opportunity to create wealth.
And I'm telling you, man, I mean, like a lot of times, what's the first goal for an agent, right? It's like, hey, man, how can I get to about $80,000 to $100,000, right? I mean, that's kind of the first goal,
Yeah.
right? And then it's like, well, can I make about $250,000? I mean, and you're going to top out at $400,000. I'm just telling you, and I know
Yeah.
there may be some quote unquote big producers.
You got to have like a healthy balance,
Healthy,
right? Of
and
sales.
even if you have a GCI, of $1 million or so, right? You cannot keep that up for years and years and years and years. That's not possible. And I know a lot of really, really good, hardworking agents. But what agents don't realize, you can have like $6, $7, $8 million business, right, where you do good amount of sales, and you can build on the side 20, 30, 40, 50, 100,000 net a month from rental and income producing properties.
Yeah.
Net. I'm not talking about gross numbers.
Yeah.
We're talking about net numbers. And use that career opportunity, which is being a good agent, to parlay that, because you have the front row seat.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you have the front row seat for deals, and you have an opportunity to learn and take it to a level where you start by serving other people, meaning making your clients rich, and yet that opportunity will build a legacy for your family. Right? And unfortunately, that is not stressed as much as it should be.
It's not, and maybe because a lot of brokerages don't want them to stray away from selling, right? Obviously,
No, but I think, but the broker is in the business of running an office, man.
100%.
I mean, to be fair to brokers, they work their tail off. They got to manage all these wily people that want to be self-employed, and the worst people to manage are people who want to be self-employed, because they're like you and me. We don't like to follow rules.
Yeah,
we don't want to. No. I mean, this is an entrepreneur's thing, and to manage that group of people, a broker doesn't have time. He's putting out fires 24/7. That's the life of a broker.
Yeah.
It's not the broker's responsibility to help you, quote unquote, build, right? But then you have to realize that hey, I have to self-educate. And I've said this at a bunch of times where I've done these kind of talks on double your income, triple your net worth. By that, 27% of today's market is real estate investors, right? For every agent, if you don't have a good 8 to 10 investors, handful, that every year are giving you 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 repeat transactions, I'm sorry, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
30% of your income, 40% income should come from these people, as if they know what they're doing. And you know what you're doing, they can be some of your best customers.
Yeah.
Because you can make 30, 40, 50,000 from just that client, one client, and they'll be pain-free, headache-free clients, because they know every time they buy, every time they flip a property or they buy rental properties, they're going to go to you.
And that was what the turning point for me was in my business right now too, because 45% of my business is listings, 35% is investors.
Sure.
So what's that right there? That's like 80% of my business. So I'm only dealing with a small percentage of first-time home buyers
Sure.
where I'm out doing showings, right?
Right.
So now it's like using leverage to kind of take on that, right? So I can now reduce that 20% of my time to someone else, and I can use that 20% time to find my own deals, start investing and everything.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
So I think that's the most important thing, right? Is having that right niche of clientele, and also, as an agent, doing it for yourself too, you build more reputation with your clients.
Well, you know what you're doing, and a lot of times I know, because when I was an agent, right, I was like, I hated investors. And the reason I did was because I thought they were a time suck. They were time sucked because those are the people, I was dealing with people that had no clue what they're doing.
Yeah.
But see, I mean, I have agents that I don't have a license. Just last year, I sent it back because I don't need it anymore. And so, because I haven't sold real estate for 10, 12 years, 15 years now, right? But yet I have a lot of great agents that we keep buying properties from them. We keep referring them business, right? Just before I came here, I just wrote a contract to Morton Grove where I know the agent. I'm like, hey, can you just quickly get me in? And I'm like, she's like, Andrew, you don't ask, you send proof of funds, you send LLC docs, you send your own contract 8.0 written out. I'm like, yeah, because I want the property, right? I don't want to waste your time, right? And I hope you make a good commission from it, whatever it is, God bless you, right? It's just like, I don't need anything from you, right? It's just like make my life easier, and I hope you make a lot of money. And she's like, well, if you're going to list it, I'm like, yeah, no problem. I'll give you the listing, no big deal, right? I mean, I don't care. I'm not looking for your pocket, right? Because I know how much more money I'm going to make in the deal. And a lot of times, I think, as much as we say, oh, agents are stupid, it's not that. They don't know, man. Right? They've never been exposed to this, right? And so a lot of times, because of a few handful of investors, they have a negative connotation. But yet, if you do it correctly, you can do really well.
100%.
And on top of that, you can build a fortune. Why is it that if we know so much, quote unquote, as an agent about real estate, how come we don't own a lot of it?
100%.
Right?
I feel it's like a lot of them, because being self-employed, they feel like they don't qualify for loans, but they don't realize there's so many loans that cater to different things that you're doing in real estate, right? Because there are loans out there that they don't give a shit what your tax returns are, as long as you have good credit.
As long as you have a 660 score or more, right? They don't ask for a W-2. They don't ask for a 1099. They don't ask if you filed taxes. It's one of the worst group of people filing taxes are real estate agents, right? Because they don't have to, and then it catches up with them, right? And it's only based on will the property rent? And if the property will rent, they'll give you a loan. You want to do a fix and flip? They'll give you a loan, right? And if you don't have the funds, because savings is an issue in our industry, right? Guys, partner up with the client. You have the knowledge, you have the skill set, right? Partner up with the client, have them put up 10 or 15% and go in on a deal, right? And do something small so you get to learn. That way you build it up. I mean, that's exactly where I started. And my issue was that being a real estate agent was that from the age of 19 till 32, I never invested in any piece of real estate. And if you had walked in my office sometime around every kind of Thanksgiving, I used to feel depressed because everybody in the office is happy. Oh, it's the holiday time of the year. We're going to spend time with family. And what I was depressed about was January 1st, right? And especially the New Year's. Everybody would be out partying up a storm. And I'm like, man, next year I got to do this shit over again, right? And over again. And what am I excited about? Like, I never understand why people celebrate birthdays. I never, maybe my brain works differently because now I'm older than I was the year before.
It's not the same like it used to be when I was younger.
Right. No, but what I'm saying is, it's like, man, you start realizing that time is running out for all of us.
100%.
Right? None of us, doesn't matter how old you are, you're not getting any younger. And as much as I respected a lot of the agents in my office, with some of the top agents in Illinois in that RE/MAX office at the time, right, I would not want to beat them at 60. I would not want to beat them at 70 because I have tremendous respect for them, right? Hard-working people, but they had zero assets, right? And that's what I didn't want to be.
And that's the one thing that, like, I feel like a lot of real estate agents need to read more books or just sit down with your CPA, right? It's like, hey, you're self-employed, you're making, let's just say, $15,000 a month, right? If you're not properly structured, like in an S corp or an LLC, or ideally S corp, so you can pay yourself a salary. But if you're not investing your money to reduce your taxable income, it's like, what are you doing with your money, right? And it's just like, maybe you're quote unquote working for yourself, right? But if you're not investing your money, you're just paying so much in taxes, and you're just going to be doing this all over again. Don't get me wrong, we love helping clients, whatever, but you got to build for yourself. Because at one point you want family or whatever. If you can't be with your family because you got to go show houses or you got 10 clients, like, what's the point at that point being an entrepreneur, in my opinion, right?
No, it's like, I mean, it's kind of one of those analogies where you're the quote unquote the coach and you tell people how to be in great health, yet
But you're
you're yet you're snorting up coke every day, right? I mean,
100%.
it's like because it's hard, man. It's hard even for me today, right? I mean, we were talking about before we got started, hey, what are you working on? I mean, this year my commitment is that with all the mess that I have in terms of businesses, certain parts of my businesses I am very proud of because I think I did it correctly. There are other parts of the businesses, like maybe it's bookkeeping, it's management, it's all of those things. Is just because you're good at certain things doesn't mean there are other things in my business that don't have room for improvement. And that's what it is, the constant thing of looking at, okay, man, I'm not good at this and I gotta get better. And unless something gets under your skin, it's not happening.
Yeah.
So
100%. So right now, so I know you have your real estate investments, everything with the cash flow conference. So how many total businesses do you have right now?
about 9 or so.
9?
Yeah.
Wow, 9 businesses. How do you do it to manage everything?
Man, I don't. I mean, it's literally spinning plates.
Really?
The one business that I'd never have to worry about, right? I mean, is the rentals.
So you guys hear that, right? So he has 9 businesses, and the most solid foundation is the rentals.
100%. And I can say that with 100% confidence because that's one thing, if I've done correctly, is I have a fallback. And the reason I got into investing is I did not have that as an agent. So everything else can go in a heck in a handbasket, right? You never know how life is. You never know where your health is going to go. You just don't. That's just how life is, unfortunately. But one thing is that I will leave behind a shitload of rentals with a shitload of equity, right? And with a shitload of cash flow,
100%.
right? And that I never have to worry about, right? That's one thing. Because with any business, man, it takes time.
Yeah.
The beauty about rentals is that once you set them up for the year or two, it's like a long bus ride.
It is.
Right? Once you get on, dude, you're good.
Yeah.
For the next 8, 10, 12 hours, unless you need a restroom break or whatever, you're set. Somebody else is doing the driving for you. You don't have to worry about it. Just chill.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like owning a rental property. Generally, a rental property, 6, 7, 8, 9 years. It runs fine.
Yeah.
At 8, 9 years, you've paid down the mortgage, and I don't use the money from the rentals to live on. Right? I've paid down a lot of properties that are completely free and clear.
So keep that in mind, everyone. Everyone thinks, okay, you get a rental, you get, let's just say you make $200, $300, or $400 per door. What are the biggest mistake? So invest, but don't spend that money and reinvest it into the property. Either pay it down or reinvest it to make
100%.
upgrades or whatever it is,
100%.
right? So you have to be that disciplined to not eat up the profits. You got to reinvest it back into the
See, I
property.
think it's one of those things that if you just never touch that money and just go spend it, right? All the time, every 5 months, I tell myself I'm not going to do this, but I go broke. There's a difference. I'm not poor, but I go broke, meaning all the extra money I buy more properties with and more properties with and all more property. And it doesn't even matter even if I don't have any money stuck. I'll buy properties for cash just so that I don't have a lot of money sitting. Because if I have a lot of money sitting, I like airplanes, right? This is my thing, right? And they are stupidly expensive to maintain. To buy, they're actually not that expensive.
Yeah.
And then I have a tendency of doing something silly. So instead of that, if I just buy more good quality real estate, right? It's like the old adage, rich people do get richer because they invest in things that produce cash flow and they buy assets, right? And that's the one thing that one time I heard somebody say that the day the pile of checks that you write for your investments is bigger than the pile of checks you write for your own living, that day you've made it.
Yeah.
And that, look at anybody who is very successful, right? And we love to look at quote unquote people on social media, right? And there's, he bought
A lot of
$10 million
gurus,
house,
right?
$50 million house. Guys, it really doesn't matter. If you look at business people, their investments will always be 30, 40, 50, 100 times a $2 million, $4 million, $10 million house they buy, right? That house or that quote unquote, the thing we see is not even a 0.01% of their actual net worth, right? Your average person that has a job, right? So another way of putting it is this: most people take pride in the size of the house they live in. I take pride in the number of houses I own, that other people live in.
100%, because I feel like rich is the difference between rich and wealthy, right? Rich is like how much money like you have, but wealth is like how long can you live without running out of money, right? And I feel like that's what's more important than
100%.
the toys, what people see, whatever. Because I feel like if you own these things, I feel like you have to have the assets to back it up, right?
No, and it's okay. Like I like toys,
Yeah.
right? As you know, like I like cars, I like airplanes, but I always have this ratio where it's like, hey man, if I have 10,000 coming from cash flow, I'll take 2, not from there, from my earned income, right? And I'm like, okay, I can take that and invest it into, not invest, stupidly spend it into a nice car, into whatever. So nobody's saying that you can't have fun, but it's got to be done in a ratio.
Yeah,
right.
ratio.
And that ratio is what is more important. You barely have $2,000 coming in. You can't go buy a BMW with a $1,000 payment.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
That ratio, and so you can buy it. Just don't buy it at that point. Just delay it a little.
So
bit.
basically, like a magic number would be like, hey, if you have like let's say 10K a month coming in cash flow, spend what, like 10 to 20%?
Yeah, it's on 10%.
Because
15%.
at the end of the day, you
decide.
you gotta live, right?
Yeah,
you gotta live a little.
So my point is this: that even if you have cash flow coming in from rentals, keep your day job. Let's just say somebody's a real estate agent, somebody has a job. Keep doing that, right? Now take some of the money from your income and spend it. But your don't spend the rental money, because that'll help you grow. Because pretty soon it'll be 15, that'll be 20, that'll be 30, and now more and more of the earned money you can spend in just having fun, right? And just having fun. And I mean, all the dreams that I had as a kid, right, with the cars and all this kind of stuff. Every 2-3 years, I've gone out and bought what for me is an exotic car, right? And because I'm trying to live my dreams that I had as a child, but could I do it every 6 months? Sure, I could do it. In a second, I could do it. But would that be wise?
No.
Because I would be taking that money from where? From my investments. 100%. And then I don't want to do that.
Yeah, 100%. So, like, what advice would you give to someone that is, let's say they have a 6-figure business? How can they break into that 7-8-figure business?
Man, the biggest thing is that what does a 6-figure business mean? Is that your net? Is that your gross? A lot of times today, I see a lot of people that, we do like 4 or 5 million. What does that mean?
Yeah, what does that mean?
What does that exactly mean?
What's
is
your
that
cost? What's your overhead?
What's your cost? What's your overhead? What matters is what is your net,
100%.
right? And then whatever your net is, if your lifestyle is 100% of your net, meaning you have a net income, let's just say of $150,000. If you live on the whole thing,
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter, because at one time you were living on 50, 60. So now you're making 150, you're spending 150. Broke is spelled the same way. For it doesn't matter how much you're making. So what is more important to look at is, hey, how much did I set aside this year? Or how much did I invest of the money I made? Right? Or even if you don't, you're like Andrew, and this is true for a lot of people. Right? That's where I think most people fall in the category of with real estate agents, which is public in general. They make decent money. It's not that they don't make decent money, but their lifestyle somehow is exactly the same with the amount of money they make. So if this year they made an extra 4 sales and they make 200,000, somehow they seem to spend the 200,000. Next year, it wasn't such a good year. They seem to be able to live on 120.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, and we have all experienced this, right? So what you have to start doing is you have to start figuring out that, hey, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. And so make one commitment for the year that, hey, this year I'm going to buy a certain amount of stocks, or I'm going to buy 1 rental house.
Yeah.
And then put a little bit money aside, and it's going to be hard. It's not going to be ever comfortable doing that. Even if you're buying a property, rehabbing it, getting all the money out, there's frictional cost that goes into it, right? But yet, a year and a half, 2 years from now, you'll be very damn glad you did it.
Yeah.
And then a second one, third one, fourth one, so that it's a forced savings plan. So the way I do it is that I don't like to save money. I hate saving money, right? So I basically just buy more properties, and that in turn forces me, because that money is gone and invested even before I see it. And that is it's impossible for somebody to earn 30, 40, 50, $100 million. But you can earn $150,000 and yet have 8, 10, 15, $20 million portfolios on the side.
Yeah.
And we have hundreds of examples of that, of people that are everyday people. They're some make 80,000, 100,000, but yet have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 100 rental properties on the side. I mean, we literally have Uber drivers in Mastery. That, what do you do for a living? I drive Uber. Well, Mr. Pervez, so limo driver, who drive the black car at the airport. Today, if you look at it, he's 72 years old. In the last 7 years, right, 6 years, now he is, for each grandkid, he's like, before I'm dead, I'm going to give each grandkid 2 houses that are paid off.
Oh, wow.
Right? And that's his legacy, and that's exactly what he's accomplished. Right? So it doesn't matter. Sometimes we get hung up by, oh, I only do this, or blah, blah. Guys, it doesn't matter. The opportunity is equal for all of us.
Yeah, 100%. And I feel like real estate is a game where everyone can get into it. It's just, working towards it, being active and knowing what to do and surrounding
100%.
yourself with the right people. So, well, Andrew, it's been a pleasure having you
Definitely.
on the podcast. Great conversation. I hope that whoever's watching this episode gets a ton of value from this, and see that, hey, entrepreneurship is not built in a day. Rome's not built in a day. It takes time, and it takes very discipline to truly create an empire, because Andrew is not one to tell you to do something, or his message is not something that he's already done for himself.
Right.
So you definitely practice what you preach, and which is why I admire a lot what you've done. So any last words to...
No, I'm very grateful to be here. And guys, just please understand, today it's easier than it's ever been, because the opportunity is greater, because the tools you have available today, they have never been available in history. And what I could accomplish in my mid 40s, people can easily do it by their early 30s.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's just the world we live in today. Yeah. Right? So having said that, I hope we delivered some value. Thanks so much.
Yeah. Thank you. I'll see you guys on the next one.